Being too tight is another big challenge for a tennis beginner. Because when you start playing tennis, you contract too many muscles, you use too many muscles, and that way you lose the feel and you hit the ball too hard. So how can you become a little more relaxed? A good way to do that is to rate your tightness from 1 to 5. So you play mini tennis and you rate yourself, how tight was this shot? So let's say this was level 4. And then you try and play level 3 tightness. And then after a while you try to play level 2 tightness. And you play a little bit, and after a while you try level 1 tightness. And actually there is one magic question that you can ask yourself, and that is, what is the least effort I need to put in to play mini tennis? So try that a little bit. Ask yourself, what is the least effort to play mini tennis? In other words, don't try so hard. Another big challenge for a tennis beginner is to complete the follow-through. Because when they see that they hit the ball too hard, they start stopping the racket at the contact point. And this looks something like this. They stop the racket at the contact point. And this usually is a very tight movement. And the problem with this is that when your arm and the racket has some inertia, and you actually try to stop that, you have to contract many muscles. And that way you lose control of the ball. So how can we teach a beginner not to stop the racket at the contact point? So a big challenge for a beginner is how to complete the follow-through and not stop the racket here, and actually play the ball slow and short in the short court. And a good way to learn that is to actually first just focus on the follow-through. So when a coach feeds you a ball, you can actually hit as hard as you want, but hit through the ball and complete your follow-through. And that way you will get a good feel how it is to go through the ball. And then when you have this feel, then you work on slowing this movement down. So actually try to slow down this movement. But now you actually know how it is to go through the ball. So that's a good way how to learn not to stop the racket at the contact point. Another big challenge that beginners face is to learn how to play with an arc, so that the ball goes in an arc, not in a straight line. Because the easiest way to hit the ball is to imagine a straight line from where the ball is to the target, which is on the other side. But usually this straight line ends up in the net. So the play looks something like this. Make a straight line from the ball to the target, and you just hit. And most of the times you end up in the net, although you might get some lucky shots and you think this is the right way. So how do you learn to play with an arc? What often happens when you just think about hitting the ball higher is that you will forget that after 3 or 4 shots. So what you need is a constant reminder to play the ball up with an arc. And you just need to use some imagination and put an obstacle at the net and then just play over. So that will always remind you that you need to play up and over the net, not too close to the net, with an arc. A little more advanced drill to practice that is called follow the ball. And what you need to do is to actually remember every ball that your opponent plays or your coach plays, and remember how high over the net the ball went, and then try and play the same height. So it goes like this. My coach plays the ball, I remember how high over the net the ball went, and then I try to play the same height. To do that perfectly is almost impossible, but this makes you become aware of the height of the ball. So for every shot that my coach plays, I try to play the same height. This is also one of the best drills to stop thinking about technique, because this requires a lot of focus and concentration, and that way you will start learning how to hit the ball in a very natural way. So I strongly recommend this drill. You play a little bit, 5-10 minutes every practice. Another big challenge for a tennis beginner is how to get to the ball in time. So that means you're not getting to the ball at the last minute when you're still off balance and moving. And this usually looks something like this. So you're moving to the ball, and then when you're hitting the ball, you're still moving a little bit off balance. And what's interesting here is that somehow we are able to calculate the minimum speed needed to get to the ball. And you can try this even without the racket. So if someone feeds you a ball, you will move to the ball with a speed so that you just get to the ball. And you don't get to the ball in time, and you can wait and be balanced. So how do we learn that? The first thing you can do is to become aware of that little space of time between when you are moving to the ball, and then this little space of time when you're actually waiting for the ball in a balanced position, and then you're hitting the ball. So when you're playing with the ball, this looks like this. So you're going now, I wait a little bit, and then I hit. So see if you can become aware of these steps. You're moving to the ball, and then there's little space of time when you're waiting for the ball, and then you're hitting. And when you become aware of this space of time here that you're waiting, this will actually make you run a little bit faster to the ball to get here in time. One simple drill that will teach you how to get to the ball in time is to actually move there early, and then have a coach feed you the ball, and then you hit the ball. So you actually experience this part of moving to the ball, and then you experience this part of waiting for the ball, and then you're hitting the ball. And this might look very simple, but you will get a good experience of these three parts: moving, waiting, and hitting. And then you ask the coach to feed the ball, and then you try to do that on a live ball. So that means you start here, and then the coach feeds you the ball, and now it's your job to get here in time and wait for the ball. The last of the challenges in this bonus video has to do with the toss. For a tennis beginner, it's very challenging to toss the ball every time in the same place. So one time maybe the ball goes too much behind you, and then next time the ball goes in front of you, and that way when you're hitting, you're losing balance and you're losing the correct technique. So how can you learn in a very quick way to toss the ball at the right place? The first drill that teaches you very quickly how to toss the ball in the right place is to actually toss the ball and catch the ball back in your hand. And the goal here is that you don't catch the ball when you have to lean or you're losing balance like this when you're catching the ball. So that way you know that the toss was not a good one. But if you can toss the ball and catch without losing balance, that's a good toss. So practice for a while. Just toss the ball and catch the ball in your hand, and then you can do one test. If you can toss the ball and catch, the next time you can serve. But if you toss the ball and you have to lean, practice one more toss. And the second drill that teaches you how to toss the ball consistently in the same place is to actually do that. Because one of the reasons why you toss the ball left and right and forward and backward is because you don't know exactly where you want to toss the ball. So what you need to do is to know exactly where to toss the ball, and how to find this place is to just put the racket up here in a comfortable way, and then imagine the space just above the racket. And now you know in your head where this space is. So now you toss the ball exactly in this space, and you try and find this space every time. But before you toss, you know exactly, okay, I have to toss the ball here. And then you toss the ball, and when you feel a little more comfortable, then just serve from this toss.